ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Hit Hit with Brian Parker. I am he. And we are back for another week of talk live. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We are streaming live and direct on Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, LinkedIn, Facebook Live, X, formerly known as Twitter, Insta. Ooh, Lord. Every time I say this, Lori, I sit there and go, you know what? Did I go live on Instagram or not? And I forget sometimes to hit that little button. Let me hit it right now. Make sure now we are definitely on Instagram as well as, like I said, X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as YouTube TV. If you're on YouTube or if you know people on YouTube, please share our channel with them. We are on a drive to 10,000. We got a long way to go, but it's good to have a goal. And man, when we reach it, oh my gosh, however old I'll be, that will be a lovely day. But we are definitely on our way with your support. We thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in wherever you are. If you are on YouTube, please like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Encourage other people to subscribe. That's how we get the word out. Make sure to, if you're able, to try to watch videos at least halfway through, if not all the way through. I know our main show can be a little lengthy, so anything that you can do in that realm, even if it's just simply turning it down and doing other stuff and let it play in the background, we can definitely accept that. And the reason behind that is that, as you guys know, a lot of these platforms have their own algorithms, and the way that they rank shows and things like that is not only whether somebody actually clicks on it, but how long they watch it and things like that. So that definitely does help with that. We are pretty strong in our expansion, and I'll share that in just 2 seconds. But just also let you guys know that we are always interested in being able to partner with you guys out there. So if you are a business owner, if you provide any kind of service or you host any kind of events and you would like that to reach out to more and more people, please reach out to us at theparkermedia@gmail.com. We would love to be able to help advertise those things for you. We know advertising dollars when it comes to the main media can be quite expensive, but we want to be able to provide something for you that will be beneficial to you without all of those extra advertising dollars that you have to commit to main media. Just to kind of give you an idea. And Lori, it's really interesting when you look at, when I say we are global, we are global. Um, yes, we broadcast here in the United States, but we've also had folks around the world tune in not only to this show but to the Empower TV Network channel as seen on Roku TV and Amazon TV. So a few of those places: Mexico, Brazil, Canada, Australia, Colombia, Venezuela, Costa Rica, Lori, Peru, Puerto Rico,
Nice.
Dominican Republic, Honduras, Ecuador, Egypt, the Bahamas. Now, people at the Bahamas watching.
That's awesome.
Netherlands. Here's one that'll get you. Kuwait, United Kingdom, Chile. So, and those are just some that we've had over the last couple of months that have definitely tuned in. We appreciate them as well for finding us and tuning in, and hopefully they'll be back more times over. And the good thing about us is you can keep coming back as many times as you want. We're not going to tell you there's a limit, and you can bring even more people back with you the next time. So a lot of times, not only are you invited to the cookout, but you can go invite some friends too, and we're more than okay with that. How about that?
Well, we actually have a comment from Anthony. Hey, Anthony, thanks for joining the show.
What's up, Ant?
He did make a comment saying, "Can I partner with my OnlyFans?" Just kidding.
Of course. Anthony got his OnlyFans. Bring it on, bro. Hey, I'm not. I look, Anthony. This one's gonna be for you. Just because of that, this segment of the show, Lori. I know you don't know this, but this segment of the show is sponsored by Hawk Tour.
Her. What? You
What's-
know how to answer this. You got it.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh,
That
you
do?
gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me?
I don't get you. I think you gotta demonstrate.
Hawk too and spit
No,
on
like-
it. Spit on it.
Yeah.
Oh man, Hawk Tour. So there you go, Anthony. Yeah, so we can use that to sponsor. We can definitely sponsor with your OnlyFans page. Oh man, absolutely, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, Anthony. Don't sit there and let people try to shame you for making money as an entrepreneur on OnlyFans. Amber Rose, a newly minted Republican at the RNC, is the OnlyFans content provider. So hey, found out she was a
Yeah.
rapper. Found out she was a rapper. I didn't know that, but
Yes, she is a rapper. She did do some music somewhere, but I still don't understand her presence at the RNC, and
well,
I just don't know why.
well, I know why. And you know what's crazy about the whole RNC, Lori? I didn't realize this. You know how sometimes you just sit there and you watch shows and you enjoy it. And this is kind of okay. Thank you. Bless you. I guess. The thing about politics a lot of times is when you see people on TV, a lot of times you don't have any idea about their political leanings, and nor should that really be one of the first things that you think about with somebody. But every now and then you'll get caught off guard by somebody that pops up as in a party that you didn't think that they would be in. Um, I I saw recently Hulk Hogan is giving a speech tonight for the RNC. Didn't realize he was
Um,
conservative. But the one that got me last night, Lori, it really broke my heart because I grew up with this girl in a way. I remember when she was a little girl, Savannah Chrisley.
why didn't you think that she was not part? She's straight Republican, all
Well,
of them.
I'll be honest because I thought her daddy was gay for the longest anyway. So I just
No,
maybe
but
more diverse, even if they were rich and stuff like that. It still kind of just blew me away when Dean Cain came out as a Republican or Mario Lopez. The same thing. I mean, because normally folks in Hollywood do lean more progressive or Democrat as a whole, not uh,
right.
not that you don't have your conservatives there, but a lot of them find it hard because of all of the diversity that would be in Hollywood. It's kind of like it's like, when we lived in New York City, finding people in the actual city that were conservative. I ain't gonna say it's a needle in the haystack, but it's extremely hard because of the amount of diversity there. And if you were somebody that was an isolationist, living in New York City would probably drive you crazy because it's everything but that. It's everything. When they talk about melting pots, there ain't a bigger melting pot than New York City. So if you are one of those that have an issue with others, that might be a place you don't want to live because you definitely gonna see it. No matter
Absolutely.
what. So when I see some of these other people and then they come out and it's just crazy. Now, whether it's Amber Rose or whether it was Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, any of these clowns that sit there and want to carry the water for Republicans. Republicans like nothing more than to watch black people trash black people. That's why they love Candace Owens so much.
Right.
And it's sad, but some black folk have figured out that the best way for them to gain power and notoriety is to go against the grain. be that one that'll say things that they want to, but they feel like they can't because then they'll get canceled, ostracized, and things like that. Think about it. Um, if a white person said the same stuff that Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, Amber Rose, I now forgot to have his name. I just said it.
Candace Owens.
Candace Owens, Larry Elder, Mark Robinson, that they would say it probably wouldn't go that well for them. They would be ostracized for that. They'd be excommunicated. They would be canceled. That is true. So when they can find one of us to sit there and do their dirty work for them and their hands look clean, they love you for that. Because, and we're gonna kind of tie that together with this whole DEI crap that has become the new N word. Um, where well, we can get into that too a little bit, Lori.
Yes.
We'll talk about how first, can we tell Trump his ear is fine and he don't need no band-aid? Well, he don't need that band-aid. He probably didn't need it. But what he needed was the visual to become the victim because if it's funny how the one thing I notice about Republicans, Lori, is they are the best at projection. The things they cry about are literally the things that they do. And here's an example here. They call liberals snowflakes. Snowflake is somebody that is easily offended, gets their panties in a bunch, so to speak. They get wound up too tight, and they're easily trolled. The biggest projection of that is the fact that Republicans are also the worst snowflakes in the world, but they try to project strength by making it sound like somebody else is weak. And
Mm-hmm.
anytime something's happening, I'll give her an example. Oh my God, they're trying to cancel Christmas. They're trying to cancel our freedom of religion and this and that. And that. Now they'll say this all the while they're trying to have just one religion promoted in school, other religions not be even taught, um, history not be taught because it may offend their children. Um, all these other things they talk about canceling, but they go around canceling everything that it doesn't line up with them. We want to cancel same-sex marriage. We want to cancel interracial marriage. We want to cancel a woman's right to choose. We want to sit there and institute a Muslim ban. We want to deport all immigrants. All the things that they say about cancel culture that it shouldn't be allowed and shouldn't be this, it's gone. I'll give you another example. They complain about the weaponization of the justice system. Okay. You fight for your 34 count criminal to go free, but you have no problem. Now here's the thing. You sit there and you say that you're law and order, yet you fought officers on January 6th. You were against Democrats when they were talking about defund the police, yet now you're talking about we don't need to fund the FBI and the Department of Justice. Well, that's defunding the damn police. You talk about law and order and everything, yet you're willing to look past the crimes of your criminal president. One of your speakers the other day just got out of jail, and
Yep.
Peter Navarro,
Yep.
Paul Manafort's also actually there too, all been found guilty. So are you really law and order? And then they sit there and they applaud the fact that Judge Aileen Cannon down in Florida dropped all the charges
Yes.
against Trump,
Mm-hmm.
based on the fact that she said that it's questionable whether Jack Smith was legally appointed because he should have been appointed by Congress, not by Merrick Garland, even though this has been um, pursued various times and always been upheld that attorney general, the attorney general, can appoint special counsel in different circumstances to investigate cases. That does not have to go through a Senate confirmation to appoint a special counsel. Robert Mueller wasn't appointed that way. Um, the dude that investigated Clinton, Ken, what's his name, Ken Starr, he wasn't appointed that way. The guy that investigated Nixon wasn't appointed that way. And even though there was contestants about that, it still went through. So the whole point to that is, and here's the thing that I say with that, Lori. Now they applaud the fact that Judge Eileen Cannon found that Jack Smith did not have the right to bring the case to begin with. But it's just so funny that there's a special counsel that just went after Hunter Biden and found him guilty. So if you're hand wringing about Trump being illegally prosecuted, then I guess that means that Hunter Biden's charges are about to go away. I guess, or they didn't really have too much to say the other day when Bob Menendez just got convicted, not indicted, but convicted on all 16 charges brought against him for his shenanigans. It's kind of funny how those things haven't come up. Oh, is it? What, Twitter's down? Oh, okay. Just as a whole. Oh, you mean on here? Okay. Okay, that's fine. I had to
Well,
figure it out.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought in this way. I just was noticing things.
Oh, look at here. Twitter done changed on us. X. A premium account on X is required to create live broadcasts on their platform. So
So
they
that
have,
means so we have to pay the blue check, the blue mark.
let me tell you something. Elon, while you sitting there committing all that money to Trump, you need to sit there and commit it to the people that still actually go onto your channel for whatever reason. Um, that's just crazy. Anyway,
Well, again, and then, but I will say, the one part of Twitter that I do love is Black Twitter, because Black Twitter is undefeated, especially
hey,
going back to Anthony's comment,
you know what?
the
It's
the
gonna be Black Twitter.
Band-Aids, the props that they have done.
Yeah,
Black Twitter is totally undefeated.
we'll talk about that. But yeah, I mean, but there can be black threads. I mean, Elon needs to stop acting like he got the only game in town now. He's bleeding out subscribers. Yes, does he have more of the QAnon people back and all these other people that's conspiracies and hate and all that stuff? Yeah, if you're gonna turn your platform into that, be my guest. But no, I will not be upgrading my subscription on Twitter to be able to stream this platform that does exceptionally well with or without Twitter. But back to what I was saying, Lori, it's just kind of interesting how they did all of that, but it's more about projection. A lot of things that they cry about are the things that they do, and you look at them and go, you don't even smell any hypocrisy in what you're saying right now. It's just absolutely crazy. So anyway, if you haven't heard, Lori, JD Vance, not Byron Donalds, not
Yeah,
Vivek Ramaswamy, not
yes,
I was gonna say Mark Cuban, Marco Rubio, not
nor Tim
Tim
Scott.
Scott were chosen to be his running mate. Now, anybody outside of the family of any of these people, we could have told y'all, we could have saved y'all the suspense and told y'all that months ago that there was no way in the world that Trump was going to do that. This is the same Trump that did not think that the world was ready for a winner, a black winner on The Apprentice. This is the same Trump that doubled down on putting out an ad talking about everybody in the Central Park Five should be executed for a crime that they ultimately were found to have not committed. This is the same Trump who actually had to be sued by the government for redlining and trying to keep African American tenants out of his buildings. Y'all really thought he was gonna bring you to the cookout.
And I think during the RNC, I always forget his name. Is it Byron?
Byron Donalds.
Thank you. I can't I forget his name, but when he was cozying up to Trump, when he was sitting next to him and this one and everything else, and I was just like, really thought that he's gonna pick you? No, absolutely not.
He really thought he
You're
had a
like the
shot.
gardener to him.
He thought he had a shot.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I mean, he was tight, close. This one, like he was about to be hugged up. I was like, wrong.
Or Tim Scott. I just love you.
I just love you.
Look, y'all even made this man go find a white woman and say that they was engaged.
Well, and the thing, and I think you had
Yeah.
posted a meme
Reposted.
which
Yeah.
was like Casper the Friendly Ghost. That was just some funniness right there.
No, white girl in, white girl out. Watch her fade away over time. You will never hear another peep about Tim Scott and got married or nothing like that.
I think that was staged, in my own opinion, because I
There's a
was
lot.
just
There's
like,
a lot of things that are staged. That's the thing about them. They're a very performative party. And I'm not and trust me, I'm not saying Democrats don't perform, whether it's to the cameras or just to their base in general, but they are a very performative policy. Everything is about how it looks. JD Vance got picked because of how he looks, which is to say, like the rest of them.
yep,
But it will be interesting because his wife is the daughter of Indian immigrants.
which is hilarious.
Same Here's the funny thing, same as Nikki Haley.
Yep.
Um, and if you've watched any 5 minutes of the Republican National Convention this week, the underlying theme, and I use underlying loosely because it's been overwhelming, but the underlying theme has been kick all the immigrants out and your lives will be better.
And
Everything that they've
yes,
said is demonizing immigrants, demonizing people that are undocumented. They want to call them illegals. That's not a term affixed to somebody, um, because anybody that breaks the law is an illegal. So if you are arrested for drug possession, if you are arrested for domestic violence, if you are arrested for speeding, congratulations, you're a damn illegal. Um, so the term illegal is not something that should just be or could be reference to somebody that is an undocumented immigrant that crosses our borders and doesn't go through the right ways to do it. That is not what an illegal is. An illegal is somebody that breaks the law, period. So all prisons are full of illegals, if you want to be accurate about it, Republicans. Illegals have nothing to do with your heritage. It has to do with the fact that you broke the damn law. So we don't use illegals to just simply talk about undocumented immigrants, because it's saying basically, yes, that if you're undocumented and you're immigrant, then yes, there are some things that you need to do to correct that status. Their remedy is detention camps and eventual deportations. There is no pathway to citizenship. I've watched bits and pieces of the Republican National Convention this week, and the underlying theme from everybody, whether it was Greg Abbott, whether it was JD Vance, anybody that they put on stage, is basically to scare everybody in that arena that the reason that you don't have, can't have, won't have is because of them. It is the biggest fear mongering that I've ever seen. They're playing to the worst instincts of people. That is to say, you should be afraid of people that don't look like you. This is why Trump leaned heavily into Nikki Haley. Doing another birtherism.
and
Can she really run?
she's
Can
another
she really
joke.
run? Yeah, that's a whole nother thing too. After all of these months of, I'm not gonna sit there and kiss the ring and bend the knee and all that bullshit that she was talking about, Lori. Then she sits there and releases all of her delegates to Trump and encourages her voters to vote for him when she basically said neither one of them is up to the challenge of the job. Um, and then she's there knowing all look, when you're running a primary, Lori, if me and you are running in a primary for the same job like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden did when they both were running for president, there's nothing wrong with spirited debates. There's nothing wrong with different points of view. Me sitting there disagreeing with you on policy decisions that you either made or supported. That's what a democracy is about. Even within a party, I should be able to sit there and talk about policies that I think that you are totally out of bounds with. But never should I ever cross that line and talk about the dresses that you wear, your heritage, the fact that your husband is in the military and he can't even stand your ass, which is why he got deployed so he wouldn't have to be around you. And which is side note, again, projection. Where's Melania? I didn't see her in New York, Donald. I, I ain't seen her in the campaign trail. You know why she didn't get shot? She wasn't there. Um, she ain't been around.
Well,
So
that's
you
well,
you
I'd
sitting there
like to.
talking about excuse me, you talking about other people's spouses being absent, and the one that everybody keeps the one that should be there because she's supposed to be elegant, beautiful first lady ain't been nowhere around. So it's hilarious. Again, projection that you talk about somebody else's spouse hadn't been there, and your spouse, much less most of your children, wouldn't even show up for you being in court in New York. Make that make sense. Your math don't math, Donald. But anywho, so he talks all this mess about Nikki Haley. This is personal stuff. You know, it's kind of like when Trump and Cruz were going at it, and then he started accusing Trump's dad of being in the plot to kill JFK, called his wife ugly, you know, when he said, look at Melania and look at that, you know, that kind of thing, and all that kind of stuff. But then the next thing you see is Ted Cruz phone banking for Donald Trump. You think if somebody just sat there and accused my daddy of murder, trying to murder JFK, and call my wife ugly, I'm gonna be phone banking for your ass?
But
No, no.
so
But
my
they sit there and they just sit there and they just do themselves in by thinking if they do all that, they'll hold on to power. Nikki Haley made a calculated move, Lori. I'll let you jump in, but she made a calculated move with that because all she basically said is it's more politically expedient for me to go along with this bull, even though I made it clear that I can't stand this guy. There's so many people in that arena, including JD Vance, and we'll talk about that in a second, that know good and well, hell, they can't stomach this man, but for their own ambitions, they are willing to put that aside. I'm sorry, go
well
ahead.
well the whole thing is, my first question is for JD Vance's spouse.
Hmm.
Is she first generation, second generation? Because the whole thing is, if you're saying that everyone is a to for, on the illegals and this and everything else, for you to sit here and to talk about somebody's spouse for this way, and then to have someone, and again, sh- I just think it's like an abomination, and especially especially things with JD Vance, because all to me he just looks like a lackey, and all he's going to just sit there and just rubber stamp and just be like, he reminds me of, like, in the cartoon, and the yup, that's what he's going to do. Yup.
Well. Think about it, Lori. Trump is, and that's the thing. And I'll agree whether it was JD, whether it was Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, Vivek Ramaswamy, Burnham, Marco Rubio, they all would have done the exact same thing. They would have been the yup man. But to your point, Trump is always wanted somebody to be under him that he can control. Now, think about it this way.
Yes.
And what's again, we'll go more into JD Vance. Has not always been a Trump fan, but Trump likes to make people that have come out against him, then look, he likes to basically debase you in front of everybody. And this is what
Is
I
it a
mean.
form of shame? Like
Yeah,
he
well,
likes to, like he's shaming them? Like,
no,
I
no,
got you now, like you're
no,
under my foot now,
no, no.
and
He doesn't understand what shame is.
well,
See, for you to be able to shame somebody, you have to have an understanding of shame. Donald Trump is shameless. It's about embarrassing you. It's about me deballing you. It's me taking your nuts and putting them in a jar and making you ask me, can you see them again? That's, excuse me, y'all, for the visual, but that's what he's doing to these people. He emasculates other men because it makes him feel like more of. The more I make you less of a man, the more of a man I am. Think about it that way. So what he's doing is he's taking the same people that were so vehemently against him. Ted Cruz said all that mess about me. Now I got him phone banking for me, even after I told him that his daddy was a murderer and his wife was an ugly bitch. Now I got him sitting there on the phone sniveling, talking about, if you could just please come out and vote for Donald Trump, please, please. So he did him. He got Marco Rubio, who spent the presidential debate talking about Donald Trump's hands and the size and this and that and the other and everything else. Now Rubio is willing to sit there and move from his state and give up his Senate seat because he wants ultimate power. Because the thing to remember is, because Donald Trump is now a resident of Florida, had he picked Marco Rubio, at some point Rubio would have had to claim residency in another state.
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution does not allow a presidential candidate and a vice president to be from the same state, because you have to pull electoral votes from two different states. You can't pull from the same state. It's all because of the electoral college.
Mm-hmm.
So he would have had to move. How funny would that have been? Yeah, you said all this about me and everything else. I made your bitch ass leave Congress and move so that you could now be under me. It's his way of emasculating people. That's
Mm-hmm.
how he does it. He did that with Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney had his low moment when he said all this about Trump, and the next thing they caught pictures of Mitt Romney and Trump eating a pizza in a restaurant together. And he could never live that down. So then he spent the rest of his time in Congress making sure that, when impeachment came, he voted for impeachment, one of the few, and things like that, because he knew he looked like a hypocrite. That when Trump was sitting there dangling the attorney general in front of him, he sat there and said, okay, yeah, I'll have dinner with you, Donald. He does that to a lot of people because he has the ultimate power, and he likes to show people, hey, I know you don't like me. I know you can't stomach me, but guess what? You're gonna get on your knees and you're gonna kiss the ring. It's the kissing of the ring. He loves that. It's not about shaming them. It's about emasculating them. It's about making them feel less than a man and I'm more of a man. They promote themselves as alphas and everything else, but when it comes to Trump, they just a bunch of little bitches. And that's what he wants to prove to you is, even my staunchest opponent, I can turn into my useful idiot.
Mm-hmm.
So then he takes Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, make them think that if they just sit there and go along to get along, if they uh basically, do what he wants, he gonna give them an opportunity. And he'll parade them around, stick them in a barbershop, wherever he needs to use them and use their influence to help him. Trump was never going to pick them. I don't understand how they didn't know that, or anything else. You are useful to him until you aren't. Ask Herschel Walker. You are useful to him until you're not. Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, welcome to that club. He will discard you and dismiss you as easily as he brought you in, if not even easier. They should have known that. But being blinded by your own ambition a lot of times makes you not see the things that are clear to everybody else. So I don't feel bad for them, because they basically walked in that. Candace Owens has been doing that grift for years. Candace Owens used to be a staunch liberal and Democrat till she found out there wasn't no money in it. And when she found out that the money was in actually degrading other black people, that's when her career shot off, because then white people could accept her. Um, but the reason that Byron Donalds, Lori, and Tim Scott should have known better is because the signs have been out there for the longest that white folks want to feel. Now, there's only one way that it would have worked with those two, and I'll get into that in a second. But for the most part, and I just had this conversation with somebody at my job today. People hire who they feel comfortable around, and normally you feel comfortable around people that look like you. Well, if you look at the ticket, if you look at the House of Representatives, if you look at the U.S. Senate, um, Tim Scott is the only African American Republican. Byron Donalds from the state of Florida is one of the few African American Republicans in the House of Representatives. That is not a coincidence. And
Mhm.
it's not that African Americans are a monolith. It's because the Republican Party does, and it's hard to do because Democrats aren't much better, but they do absolutely nothing to fundamentally reach out to African Americans in a honest way. Democrats would probably be 0.1% better. Um, they don't do enough to reach out to African American community either. But you got one that is complicit in not doing it, and you got another one that's just a little bit more irresponsible about when they do it and when they don't. I call Democrats a little bit more irresponsible. I call Republicans a little bit more complicit. It's not a bug; it's the damn feature.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. They're not missing it because oops, we forgot. They're missing it because oops, we don't give a damn. So sometimes the end result is what you look at, but a lot of times you need to really look more at the why. Why are they not focusing on African Americans? When you look at one that says, well, they're just irresponsible, and you look at another and you say it's deliberate, I think the deliberate is a little bit worse, me personally. Um,
Absolutely.
so I think that's where a lot of that comes from. So anyway, Tim Scott, Byron Donalds should have known better. JD Vance looks the part outside of his wife. He looks the part and he can play the part. Y'all got to remember, Trump is a, uh, if anything, he is a reality TV host who looks at things through the prism of ratings. If you ever want to know what motivates Trump, a lot of times, how does it look? How many ratings does it get? He looks at crowd sizes
Crowd sizing.
as ratings. He always has the best ratings because it's the crowd size. A crowd size is a stamp of approval to him. Crowd sizes in an election means more to him than winning the popular vote. Because if you listen to him speak about how many votes he got, he always contextualizes it in the way of no sitting president has received more votes than me. Yeah, but the guy that ran against you did. So that's why your ass lost. So you can contextualize and say no sitting president. That part is true, but that doesn't then mean that you should have won because all it meant is that a non-sitting person that wasn't president ran against you and had more and thus won. But he puts it in the context of saying no sitting president has ever received more votes. And that's true. That don't mean you won. But he talks about it in a way to make it sound like that so he can have something to conflate and make his followers believe something had run amok when it did not. So that's just kind of one of those things too. But again, he's going to always go for the ratings and having somebody that looks like him at the top of a ticket, young. And now I'd be a little afraid, JD Vance. He's young and ambitious. He was a never Trumper by his own definition of the word. If I was Trump, I'd be very um, careful that he didn't sit there and try to get you in and then run the 25th Amendment on your crazy ass and then get you pushed out so he can become president. I wouldn't put that past JD Vance. Um, he's shown himself to basically shed his skin like a snake and become somebody else for the moment. Because it
Mhm.
wasn't that long ago that he called Trump toxic, America's Hitler, told people that they voted for him that they were crazy, they were idiots. Called himself a never Trumper, said Trump is divisive. He said all these things. He said Trump doesn't bring any substance to anything that he talks about. Everything that he said, actually, before all of this, was true. So the fact that he could see it, but then when they now all of the folks when he was being out there as a potential VP pick, they kept saying, "Well, you know, all this is going to come back to you." Hell, Democrats probably cutting ads right now about the stuff that you said about Trump. Like, well, damn, with friends like this, who needs enemies? All this stuff you done said, and when Trump announced on his social media platform, which I won't say the name of it because it's anti what the name says. Um, people were giving him a hard time for picking JD Vance because they said, wait a minute, this dude said all this about you, and you gonna sit there and make him second away from the presidency if something happened to you? If you're incapacitated, if you die, he would be the dude, and he's the one that said all this stuff about you. But we getting mad because the Democrats said all this stuff, and we're trying to say that the Democrats' rhetoric is why you got shot at. Yet then you turn around and bring somebody in whose rhetoric, because now they sitting there clutching their pearls. Well, the Democrats said he as bad as Hitler. That's why he got shot at. Okay, well, J.D.
No.
Vance said he was America's Hitler. Yeah, we'll get into the whole shooting thing. But again, this is projection, Lori. The thing that you said is the reason why Trump got shot. Then Trump turns around and brings somebody in that has said things far worse about Trump. But you want to blame the whole Democratic Party on Trump getting shot, yet Trump just brought somebody into his fold that compared him to call him America's Hitler. Make that make sense. That don't make no sense. That just sounds like people say any and everything, and hypocrisy be damned. It doesn't matter. They're just going to say it no matter what. And that's the crazy part. Um, it really is. It's like there's no logic to anything they do. They just say it, even in a vacuum, and go, okay, there's nobody's going to pull up a recording of me saying this, so I'm okay. And it's like, no, that stuff lives out there forever. There, JD Vance thought that he could delete posts off Twitter. Man, people screen grab that shit a long time ago. You can delete it all you want to now. They still got your receipts. Excuse me. Just because you deleted your receipts, don't mean that made everybody else's disappear, JD.
I really believe there is the Wayback Machine that keeps everything.
Well, it is. I mean, once you do stuff like that, people know that there's a chance that at some point this person gonna come and scrub their account. So I'm not gonna rely on them to keep it on their account. We're gonna screen grab them and save them and bring them back for moments like this. That's exactly what they do. And it makes absolute sense because people will sit there and clutch their pearls and say one thing, knowing that at some given point they're going to go back on everything they said and act like they ain't say nothing about it. So Lori, just like we were talking, there was a shooting at one of Donald Trump's rallies where Trump actually narrowly avoided getting terminated. Unfortunately, that cannot be said about one of the supporters that came to the rally. Two other ones were in critical condition. I haven't seen any updates on their status, but this happened at a rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday. And apparently, there were some pops that were heard, and then Trump immediately sat there and looked at his ear because he felt something hit his ear. Now, there are conflicting reports whether what hit his ear was actually a bullet or if it was fragments from the glass that was in front of him. I still haven't received any confirmation about that definitively, but he did get hit. Secret Service brought him down to the ground, and you can hear them trying to figure out if the shooter had been taken out. But one of the things is now the Secret Service is being scrutinized because of where the shooter was. Now, up until the rally, Lori, the mainstream media, and this includes CNN, MSNBC for the most part, even though some of the anchors did a better job, kept pushing this narrative about Joe Biden needing to step down. That's all you heard because of his debate.
They're still saying it.
You're right, which is absolutely stupid.
Dumb.
It's very dumb because you're doing their work for them.
Thank you.
They don't have to sit there and run a bunch of ads and spend a lot of money because the fight is from within. And it's a public fight. It's a nasty fight. It's one that if you was going to have, you should have had that shit a long time ago. Y'all brought him to the dance. Now y'all asking him to give up his spot. That's not going to happen. And all you can do is ask. There is no mechanism for you to make him do it. So once he says no, then you need to push everything you can against him to make him cross that finish line. As I say, by hook or by crook, get his ass across the finish line. Stop. He was old when he ran for president the first time. He was old. All you had to do was take his age then, add 8 to it, and say, well, if he wins, and then of course an incumbent is going to run again, and because he already has his political apparatus in place, anybody running against him is going to be harder. Because he got COVID, he should step down.
Well, that's I really don't agree, especially with Schiff when he sat there and made his comment as well. I'm just like, stop. I feel like Susan Powder. Stop the madness. Stop it. You wanted him in this role. You kept sitting here, and now
Well,
you didn't realize you need to push it and keep pushing on and keep it going. Stop the, well, we're gonna know, I don't know, and I want someone who's gonna be this one. Then you shouldn't have put him up there in the first place.
well, the problem is this, Lori. Democrats are political animals too. And they read polls, they read tea leaves just like everybody else. More so. Their heads are always in the weeds of polls. The whole idea is that every 4 years when there's a presidential campaign, excuse me, the top of your ticket should be as strong as it can be, because a lot of times whoever's at the top of your ticket helps you win a lot of your down ballot voting. So if you've got somebody running for governor, if you got somebody running for state house and state senate, if you got somebody running for local judge positions and things like that, once they see the name at the top of the ticket, a lot of times people just do down ballot voting. You don't ever want it to be where you feel like the top of your ticket is weak, and now people will have to make a decision about the other people underneath them. And sometimes they feel like if the top of the ticket is weak, it can potentially hurt. Excuse me. It can potentially hurt other people that are on that same year ballot. If this was a mid-year election, you wouldn't be hearing this because they'd have the win at the win at their sales, so they're not worried about it. When you've got a president at the top of the ticket who is being perceived as old, weak, and feeble, you're not worried about Biden being old. You're worried about him being a drag on your potential to win re-election. If you are a Speaker of the House or a majority leader or Senate majority leader, you're worried because it can be the difference of whether you take back the House, whether you maintain the Senate. So they're not really worried about Joe Biden and is he too old and everything else. It's, is he too old and would that keep us from winning as a party? They don't give a rat's ass if Joe Biden gets elected and on January 20th, he's sworn in on January 21st, he kills over and dies. They could care less. If they are in the majority, then that's all that would matter to them. Anthony says everybody knew he was old when he ran. He can't even keep his eyes open. People just don't want Trump as president. Anthony, most of that is true. But think about it. He's 80 years old. Is he going to be tired a lot quicker? Yeah. I would expect by the time I'm 80 years old, number one, I'll lose my train of thought more than I do now at 50. I would expect at 81 that I might mix up a name or two here or there. I might lose my train of thought. I can see all those things happening at 80 because I do it now. And I'm not in any kind of mental damn decline. People just do that. People say the wrong name all the time. My mama still call my daughter Brian. You know, and I know most of y'all that if y'all have multiple siblings, you tell me one damn time when your parent didn't call you one of your siblings. I'll wait. Y'all stop acting like, oh, that's just mental. We all go through that. The difference is when you get to an elevated age, it's going to happen more frequently. But that doesn't mean mental decline. That's just what happens when your ass get old. You get tired. You ain't staying. Hell, there's people now that when they get to their 30s, they're like, man, I can't hang out at the clubs like I used to. I used to be able to go all the way to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And you realize, you know what? I need my ass at home before midnight so I can be in the bed, go to get a good night's sleep, and be at work on time. Because staying up till 4, getting up at 7, and going to work is not the play like it was in my 20s. Don't we all elevate to those different levels where we realize that, hey, my body can't do what it used to? I used to be able to dunk a basketball, Lori. Now, if I try
No,
to jump 3 inches off the ground, I might twist my ankle.
we don't want that to happen.
We don't want that. I don't want that to happen. You know why? Because it ain't cool walking around at 50 on no damn twisted ankle. That shit hurt. And it take longer to heal. That's for everybody. Anthony says, get down on the floor and don't want to get back up for a while. Yes, I'm good. I'm gonna stay down here for a minute. Y'all go ahead. When the spirit moves me to get my ass up, then that's when I'll go. Exactly. We all been there. That's a part of growing. That's a part of getting old. But when somebody is 80 years old, all those things happen at greater frequencies. When he first ran, I believe he was 76. That's pretty damn old to start trying to run. That wasn't his first run at president, but that would have damn sure been crazy to sit there and elect him then. But everybody signaled then. They cleared the road for him.
Yes, they did.
Cleared the road. Everybody else, all these other people were running against him, and you let old ass Jim Clyburn turn around South Carolina for him and propel him into the White House. Well, Jim Clyburn, y'all had to remember too, he old as hell too. Nancy Pelosi, old as hell too. Dick Durbin, old as hell too. So of course they didn't have a problem with an old person being president because they ass old too. And here's the funny thing too, again about projection, Lori. As much as they talk about Joe Biden freezing, not being able to keep his eyes open, do y'all remember Mitch McConnell sitting there freezing for seconds? Like a deer with in headlights?
Yes.
Not being inaudible, not mixing up names. Mug went deaf mute.
Yep.
Couldn't speak,
Nothing.
couldn't hear, couldn't do
Nothing.
just froze. You thought you would. It reminded me of you were sitting there having a Zoom call with somebody and the screen just freeze. He did that live. He did a live version of it. He was talking and all of a sudden he
Yeah.
did it for over 20 seconds. Twice.
Stopped.
In his tracks. Man, is he all right? Something wrong with him? Then they all start talking about, "No, maybe he needs to step down. He needs to step down." That came up for a while. He put that mess to rest and said, "I tell y'all what, I'm not stepping down. But what I will do is after the November elections, I will give up my seat as House Majority Leader, but I'm not leaving the Senate because my term isn't up." So he's still gonna stay in Senate, but he's not gonna ask to be put back in as the House majority or minority leader, depending on what happens in the election. So, but once he made it clear that he wasn't going to step down, that was it. They let it be. Democrats just keep going around and around with Joe, trying to have private side conversations, trying to explain to him, "You can't win, sir. You can't win." You know why he can't win? Because y'all fighting him too. And
Again, Hakeem Jeffries, like everybody needs to stop.
Nobody wants to see all that dysfunction. You said your piece. You said that we don't think that we're playing with our strongest hand. Just because you don't have your strongest hand don't mean that you can't win.
Right.
I mean, I've seen, trust me, have you ever sat there and played poker with somebody, you fold it, and when they put their cards down, you look at them going, "You won with that." It happens all the time. So just because you don't have the strongest hand doesn't mean you don't have a winning hand. But what you need to do is commit to the hand. You need to sell
Absolutely.
it. Sometimes your poker face is better than what you got in your hands.
Absolutely.
And that's what you need to do. I get the fact that people, all it comes down to, Lori, is they're scared because they are afraid that the signs are telling them that they don't have a chance, and this can potentially affect other party races, and that's all they're worried about.
Hmm.
It's got to be more to it than that, but that's all that they're worried about. Is this true? The people that support Biden are now turning on him to step down. Yes, absolutely, Anthony. They're doing that because their political career is more important to them than whether Biden makes it through another 4 years or not. They don't give a damn if he makes it past the first 2 days. They need whoever is at the top of the ticket to be able to encourage. Because see, think about it this way: how do you get elected? People show up to the polls and they vote for you, right? Makes sense. In off-year elections, which we call the midterms, turnout is typically down. You wouldn't be surprised to hear that even if you had per 100,000 people, only about 25, 30, 35%, maybe 40% tops turn out to vote during midterm elections. That is not, I see it, there's not a lot of people that come out in midterms to vote. And a lot of times, depending on who you can energize to come out, is a reason whether you win or lose. Well, in a presidential election, you're supposed to be able to get more turnout because the top of the ticket is strong. So if Republicans can galvanize their supporters to back Trump and now make him a sympathy candidate because he's been shot, but Biden can't energize his folks to turn out because they think he's just old and don't know where he is, and the media keeps selling this whole thing that he's in decline and this and that and the third. The man is not in decline, and I'll talk about that on the other side why I think that that's true. And I'm not holding water for Joe Biden, but I'm gonna tell you why that's not totally true. We'll be back in just a second. Lori, are you ready with 2 commercials for us? All right, we're gonna run these 2 commercials. I'm gonna reset Instagram, and we'll be back in just a second. Check this out. Buying a home is one of the biggest decisions that you'll make. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help you navigate through that process. We know that a home is more than just a place to live. It creates memories. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help. Give us a call and let us get started on your journey. Introducing Sawyer, Kid Lawyer, Teacher versus Nap Time, a great book that will help your little one with reading, writing, and spelling. Coming from the authors, Shanine and Sheldon Moultrie. Please check this book out and support. Thank you so much. All right, we are back. We're back, Lori.
Yes,
Uh,
we are. And you're black and beautiful. Woohoo!
yes, Lord. So anyway, let me just hit this one little button to go back live on Instagram, and there we are. All right. So Trump, I'm sorry, Trump. See, I said it. Biden is not too old. What was I saying about Biden?
You were,
I know it was. It's not that he's in decline. He's aging like an 80-year-old person should age. What it is, Lori, is some people perform better in debates, and some people perform better at rallies and speeches and things like that. Whether he uses a teleprompter or not, I could care less. They all joke about Joe Biden having to use a teleprompter. Mike Johnson was on stage the other day at the Republican National Convention, and when the teleprompter went down, he goes, "Whoop! There goes the teleprompter." Like, okay, well, you can't speak without it, but you'll sit there and judge Joe Biden because he has to use a teleprompter. Trump will sit there and act like he can just pull everything out his ass, but then he'll complain to the crowd for 20 minutes about, I don't know why I'm paying all these people with these teleprompters and they don't work half the time, or the wind blows them around, and because it's moving so much, I can't read it. Brian, we see you losing your memory from 5 minutes ago. Exactly. And I ain't in no damn decline.
You just need some ginkgo biloba. That's what you need.
No, I need some hot.
Yeah, you in the hot tour.
but it can happen to any of us. So it's not that he just doesn't debate well anymore because debates are normally we're going to ask you guys some questions. We're going to give you a certain amount of time to answer it. And as you get older, trying to keep the pistons firing and coming with a stream of thought is you're putting that under a pressure cooker. I'll give you a perfect example. There's some people that if I sat there and asked them 50 questions, they could probably get 40 of them right. But if I sat there and put them questions on a piece of paper, told them that they had 30 minutes to answer those questions, they'd fail the test. Some people don't test well. Some people don't do as well. Well, Brian, if he can't sit there and think under pressure, what is he going to do when there's a crisis with Russia or China, this and that and the other? You know what his ass is going to do? He can go into the situation room. He's going to be surrounded by a table of his advisors, and they're going to all sit there and game plan to talk stuff out. There is not going to be a damn 2 minute. Here's the problem. Give me your answer. Nowhere other than a presidential debate or any debates normally is where you would find that. So it has nothing to do with whether he would be able to function under pressure. Um, because a president is not because if you want to make that apples to apples, then he should be able to have a bunch of his aides on stage so that when he gets a debate question, they all huddle around in a circle like it's an episode of Family Feud, and then they all come out and have an answer. That would be the equivalent or close there to it. So, but the fact it's him on the stage by himself. You want him to come up with answer within and come up with a concise answer in 2 minutes. You might be able to do that more at 45, 50 than you can at 81. That's just a fact. Because then when you've seen him go out to rallies or go out to other places and things like that, he just gave a detailed foreign policy um speech at the United Nations meeting that just happened last week, and it was one of the most coherent speeches I've ever heard him do. It was full of facts. It was full of thoughtfulness and everything else that goes into foreign policy. He did a great job. And the thing is that okay, does it take away from the debate? No. But does it offer some kind of contrast? Does it give us something else to bite at and go, well, wait a minute. We did see him in this, and didn't look too good. Yet we've seen him in North Carolina. We've seen him do speeches with the NAACP. We've seen him sit there and do his foreign aid. And the only thing that he's messed up hugely over that time is he accidentally called Kamala Harris Donald Trump because he said, but you knew he was talking about Kamala Harris for this reason. He said Vice President Trump, and then he said her. So either he was trolling Trump as being a woman, or in his mind, he thought he said Kamala Harris because he also then said her. All anybody wanted to pay attention to was, oh my God, he mixed up Kamala Harris with Donald Trump. Media. How many times has Donald Trump called Joe Biden Barack Obama? How many times did Donald Trump call Nancy Pelosi Nikki Haley? Y'all see normalizing Trump's decline and highlighting Joe Biden's less than stellar performance at the debate is not being an honest broker. Trump has said some crazy shit. This is the same Donald Trump that sat there and thought that stealth fighters were invisible.
Part of the Space Force.
Y'all normalizing this. He thought that they was flying around in Wonder Woman's jet. Like you can't see it. You remember the old episodes? You can see Wonder Woman sitting almost like she's sitting in a chair, and you see the blurred out jet, and she flying across the sky. He thought that was for real. Not understanding that the word stealth doesn't mean that the jet is really
invisible.
invisible. It doesn't cloak like a Romulan or Klingon ship from Star Trek.
I don't even think he know what a Romulan is.
No, but he he believed that it was really invisible to the naked eye. No, dumbass, it's invisible on radar. Radar can't pick them up because they're stealth. That's all. If you looked outside and some bitch flew over you, you'd see it clear as day. But when you went back to look at the radar, Lori, nothing. That's all. That's what stealth meant. This fool sat there and thought it was invisible. This mug thought he could sit there and get rid of hurricanes by dropping nuclear weapons into it, not realizing that all the disbursements from the nuclear weapon would kill everybody. How do you not know that? But you talk about you went to Wharton, one of the best institutions in the world. Well, now I know why you don't want nobody to see your records. I know why. I know when you sitting there taking Sharpies to a hurricane and trying to change the path of a hurricane with the damn Sharpie, as if the hurricane gonna see what you changed on with your Sharpie and go, oh, I guess I need to move. What? This is the same person that claimed Puerto Rico was surrounded by a lot of water. Y'all normalizing this stuff. It don't make any sense. But hanging on Joe Biden effing up one damn debate. Now he got to step down because I'm more worried about whether I can be reelected or not. Did he have a bad debate? Yes. Did he admit to having a bad debate? Yes. Does everybody know he had a bad debate? Yes. I bet his wife done told him, Joe, that was a terrible ass debate. He can't, but y'all want him to live in the past of that, and you ain't looking forward to the future. There's only, Lori, honestly, anywhere between 90 and 120 days before early voting starts.
Yep.
Democrats, y'all need to get your shit together
You need to stop.
because that'll be here before you know it.
They
Um,
really need to stop.
and as much as they think that Joe Biden is being a drag on the party, I would argue this right here is being a bigger drag on the party right now. You're doing, and the media for some reason is helping create this narrative, and they haven't been able to focus on it as much because Trump got shot. Had Trump not gotten shot, they would still be talking about it all the time. You know, what does Joe Biden have the right people in the room to talk him through this, or is he relying on the counsel of just his wife and his children who want him not to give up but to keep on running? Let Joe keep running. And then other people talking about, man, if his wife and his family is doing that, that's almost like elder abuse because they're sitting there forcing him to do something that he obviously cannot do. So anyway, let me jump on this, Lori, because we're running low on time. So here's been the funny thing. If they say they want Joe to step down, it's mighty, mighty funny, though, that they're not saying, well, we need to just run Kamala. No, what they're saying is we need to find somebody like Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, somebody that can carry the top of the ticket. Okay, well, why not the person that's been there for the last 3.5 years as the vice president? Don't they? I mean, how many vice presidents have become president? You know, Bush did it. You know, I'm sure others have been the vice and become president. But normally, don't you kind of look inward and say, well, we do have a strong vice president that's been doing this, doing that, that has polished up on foreign policy and things like that since they've been in office, even if they've been doing it from a background role, which is what they're supposed to do. But if Joe Biden died today, Kamala Harris would be president. I think we can agree with that. Tanisha Lane, hello, friend. How you doing, Tani? Um, so it's kind of funny how Kamala Harris is getting overlooked by her own party. A friend of mine said to me today, sometimes racism is deliberate, but sometimes it's just inherent, where people do racist stuff and don't even realize on the surface that it's pretty racist. But if you're saying that Joe Biden can't be president because he's too old, you're saying that he can't make it another 4 years. Kamala Harris, 60 years old. Why she can't do it? Why is it if you say, well, we got to replace Joe, she isn't part of that equation? Why does it have to be Gavin Newsom? Why does
Because
it
they're
have to
white.
be? I know. I know.
They're white.
I know.
And they're doing the same thing that Trump did with JD Vance.
Which
I'm
is why
going
I
to
said that that's not exclusive to Republicans. Absolutely. She is being overlooked. Tony says, thank you, Tony. Big time. She's being overlooked. And again, whether you want to believe she stepped down in 2020, she did to clear the way. But
well,
whether you want to believe your party is so advanced, y'all got to remember this. This country has long had a problem with women in leadership. You can believe all you want that uh, the only reason people didn't want Hillary Clinton was because she was a Clinton. No,
She was a
that
woman.
might have been part of the reason, but the other part of the reason was that uh she wore pantsuits better than dudes.
And
She
if you're
did.
speaking about, she did have some good suits though,
She did. She
but
had some nice pantsuits.
she had excellent suits. But also talking about Kamala Harris, I think also because of her race and her, but they're also doubt and also, and I think Kamala has been playing I'm playing on politics because again, she's in the role of I gotta I'm part of the ticket. I
Well,
gotta push for Joe, which should
yeah.
be going on to everyone else to not to say this is the person that we picked. We just need to rock with this one and push forward.
Well, she's in an impossible situation
Yeah, she's in an
because
impossible situation.
whether or not she agrees, and it's supposed to be that way. When you're in management and leadership, you know how important it is to present a unified
Not
front.
in front.
Now, if you have a problem with anything that I'm saying or doing, we can take that behind closed doors. But when that door opens up, nobody is going to be able to see where I end and you begin.
That's
They need
right.
to be able to see that. That's part of leadership. It doesn't mean that I didn't give you your opportunity to say what it is you had to say, but where you say that matters. Saying it out front in front of the media so that they can sit there and see the division and the gap in between us doesn't do me any good. And frankly, it makes you look worse. It makes you look petty. It makes you look opportunistic, and it makes it look like that you don't know how to be a team player. So why would I want to put you in when it looked like you can't even get along with the people that you got elected to get along with? It
Right.
makes you look small. So she's playing this the only way she can. That if Joe does decide to bow out, then she can sit there and say, "Well, hey guys, before y'all want to start getting Gavin Newsom on speed dial, um, I still have a better chance than Gavin does."
Absolutely.
You know, but the fact that people just automatically overlook her like she's not there. Look, guys, the vice president is an unceremonious role. They're not supposed to be out there leading the charge with stuff. When did you have that expectation with Dan Quayle? When did you have that expectation with Bush? When did you have that expectation with Al Gore? When did you have that expectation with Biden when he was vice president? When did you have that expectation with Mike Pence? Now all of a sudden, man, I don't even see Harris. She don't be doing nothing, huh? Just like the other ones. I'm sorry, just like them other white boys. That's it. She ain't being no more or any less visible than any of the other ones. But that doesn't mean that she's not working in the background, but she is supposed to be there to support the president, not outshine the president. Now, when she becomes into the forefront, into the spotlight, then that's her moment to shine.
Hmm.
Does he put her in charge of things like she's doing a really good job explaining a woman's right to choose and things like that? Yes. Yes. Would she wipe JD Vance off the damn floor in a vice presidential debate because JD Vance is against any abortion? JD Vance is even against women being able to divorce their husbands even if they're in an abusive relationship? Yes. But y'all got to remember, there is a certain theocracy out there that looks at men as the hierarchy, that looks at a man being at the top of power and leadership, and cannot. What's up, John James? That cannot envision a woman being in that place. I think I shared last time, part of the church I was in growing up, they had different divisions. And when I asked my dad about it, he was like, yes, a lot of our different divisions stem from the fact that uh, most of them do not allow women pastors. They don't think a woman should be in that kind of role of leadership because it breaks up the hierarchy that, as CJ put last week, the one and true God has established. Well, if you hold those religious beliefs through all aspects, then that puts you in a place to believe that a woman can't be president because that's not what God has. I'm sorry, the one true God has ordained. I do that in air quotes, y'all, because depending on what religion you are, your God is your one true God. Nobody has a right to tell you who the one true God is. It's up to you to determine that for yourself, not for you to take that and then push it in front of everybody else to say, "Well, hey, you can worship Allah all you want, but you know He's not the one true God." The hell are you talking about? My God is, and that's the one you're going to follow. Damn it! And that's why we're going to put our 10 Commandments in the classrooms because the one true God said so. That's why we're going to make sure that abortion is illegal, contraception is illegal, same-sex marriage is illegal because our one true God has not has not co-signed on that. You can't do that. That has not been ordained. That's very dangerous. But that's what they're doing to Kamala Harris right now. They're basically saying that you do not qualify. And here's the other thing. And the only reason that she's the vice president, apparently, Lori, is because she is a DEI hire. And these folks have been heavily on DEI. DEI, y'all, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a policy that has been in a lot of corporate environments for years to be able to make sure that we're not just promoting the whitest candidate possible, that we're promoting candidates that have equal qualifications, but may not look like the person across the desk that is doing the hiring, and to keep them honest and to make sure that, hey, if Brian is applying for the job and he has a white counterpart applying for the job and both of their qualifications are fairly similar, then I'm not going to let the white person's race be the tiebreaker. We will not practice that. That's all DEI is. It has been boogeyman and vilified into saying, well, because there's a quota, we got to hire uh, people that aren't qualified just to be able to say that we hired them. That's in somebody's jacked up universe. That's not what that means. That's what they've hijacked it to mean. DEI, Lori, is nothing more than the new N word. It's to say that the only reason you had that position, because that's what they use affirmative action to be able to say. The only reason this person got this job is because of affirmative action. They had to go with a lesser qualified candidate to make sure, all in the name of diversity. And now you got a lot of butthurt white people, because the race that had been given a 250-year head start on everything is now claiming that somehow they're the victim. Make that make sense. They didn't have Jim Crow against them. They didn't have redlining against them. They didn't have segregation against them.
No.
They didn't have slavery against them. Now all of a sudden, no, they're being discriminated against.
Yes.
As I began, I'll end with projection. That's that's a heavy lift ass projection too, because man, you got to go through some crazy gymnastics to really believe that white people are being discriminated against because somebody hired a black person. That's crazy. Or to frame it under the assumption that because they're black, automatically it makes them less qualified. Charlie Kirk made that abundantly clear on his platform that if he gets on a plane and sees a black candidate, it instantly goes through his mind, is he really qualified or were they just filling a quota? You mean to tell me that you think the airline is going to put somebody that's not qualified in a position to not properly fly a plane, cost hundreds of lives, face hundreds of lawsuits in the name of DEI? But they sell that to their audience because nobody loves insulting Republican followers more than Republicans. They love gaslighting them. They love lying to them and telling them that the reason that you don't have is because of them. They had to give it to them. They're a DEI hire. The vice president is a DEI pick. What I said DEI pick because Joe Biden made it clear that if he becomes president or when he runs for president, he was going to sit there and choose a woman. That made her a DEI because he said ahead of now, had he just not said it and done it, then they wouldn't have been able to say nothing. Same thing when he appointed Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. He made it clear that if he had the opportunity to replace a justice, it was going to be a woman of color. He didn't say black woman, but it was going to be a woman of color. And then he did it. So that makes her a DEI pick. Basically, and then Trump does at the debate talking about immigrants coming in to the country taking black jobs. Well, the only jobs that I've ever heard people accusing immigrants of coming and taking were a lot of lower paid jobs. So Trump is equating black jobs with lower paid jobs. Well, and I saw a meme that was very interesting about how Trump himself took a black job because he followed Barack Obama.
Yes, I think the what you're talking about is I think they it was the folks that were on a golf course and they were asking the moderator was asking, what is a black job, right? Is it
Mhm.
that one that you were talking about?
Well, it's been out there different places, but yes, that's one of them where because Trump said that so loosely, he probably didn't. I do believe Trump says stuff and he don't even know what he said because his idea is just to keep talking and it doesn't matter what comes out. So he said that, but it creates a perception that there's certain jobs that are identified as black jobs, and if you're black and you're not in one of those jobs, well then you're a DEI hire. Okay, so there can't be black pilots apparently if you listen to Charlie Kirk.
Or
Um,
CEOs or
CEO or
vice
any
presidents,
right.
executive vice
Those are those,
presidents,
those are not for y'all.
business owners,
We did
none
not
of.
when we sat there and undid the change, we did not expect y'all to go running and becoming pilots and CEOs and stuff like that. That was not the point. The point was is that the physical chains wouldn't be there, but we would still have the rhetorical chains on you. And
Projection.
if I'm preaching, y'all go ahead and send a donation to my cash app. No, I'm just kidding. But that's really what we started to see was a whole lot of that and seeing Kamala be put in as a DI hire. Y'all, this woman has been an attorney general. She's been a U.S. senator. Her
Lawyer.
credentials, a lawyer, yeah, her credentials speak for themselves. And to try to diminish that by saying that the only reason she has a job because she's black. Now, did her blackness help her get a job? Sure. But that didn't discount the fact that she wasn't qualified. She was definitely qualified. Um, just as qualified as Dan Quayle, just as qualified as George Bush, just as qualified as J.D. Vance, who only swore in for the first time into the U.S. Senate in January of 2023. He's been at his job for a year and a half, and now we're going to sit there and promote him to second in line to the presidency. Where's his qualifications? So, oh, but you know what? But when you white, you don't have to have as many qualifications because you're white. You're automatically believed to be qualified because you woke up white.
Because white is right.
White is right. Black is whack. I know that makes me damn Brian. That's a little heavy and strong. Well, prove me wrong. And I'll end with this, Lori. It kind of goes back to where I started with Byron Donalds and Tim Scott. There was an appetite for Trump to be able to put them on the ticket as a token because for a lot of white people, voting for a black person proves to themselves that they're not racist. And it would have been a way for them to be able to say, see, I hired one of them.
Just
So
like they have the one black friend. One.
right. So as long as I can hide under plausible deniability of, see, I can't be racist. I voted for Tim Scott. See, I can't be racist. I voted for Biden. Yeah, because they sitting there out there saying the same thing that white people say about black people. That ain't really no diversity. You just sat there and found one of us to sit there and carry your water and say what you want to say, but you feel like you can't say it. That's not diversity. You just found a token. That's all. Tony says Trump had zero qualifications. That's absolutely right. Yeah. And the crazy thing about Trump is he didn't even grow with the position. He didn't get any better with foreign policy. He didn't get better with understanding the issues, understanding how democracy works. He everything he did was how can I enrich myself from being in this position? Oh, I'll leave the White House and go to Mar-a-Lago. Well, what does that do? Well, he has to have Secret Service rent out a bunch of villas to be able to provide protection when he goes to Bedminster, New Jersey. Secret Service has to rent space from him, and he can charge whatever he wants. Oh, I'll be at Mar-a-Lago because now I can charge more for memberships. Because now when people see me walking around Mar-a-Lago, now they have access, so they have to pay $100,000 memberships for access. That's all he did was figure out. His daughter got 20 something patents from China during that time. Yet, if you listen to them, China is the big bad boogeyman. Your daughter didn't think so. Your son-in-law got $2 billion from the same from the same folks that sat there and killed a journalist. You know,
Yep, Saudis. Yeah.
from the Saudis. So all Trump learned in 4 years was I don't need that $400,000 a year presidential salary. I'm making billions. But when you listen to a bunch of these Trump supporters and you say, "Hey man, why y'all like Trump? Man, Trump is selfish. He loves this country. Why does he love this country? Man, he wouldn't even take a salary. He's a billionaire, right? What would a billionaire care with $400,000 a year when he can make that off of interest off of one of his investments?" This is when you have uninformed people trying to sound intelligent and sound dumb as hell. $400,000 might mean a lot to you. That is nothing to him. Do you know how much he has spent on lawyers this year? Over $50 million in lawyers. Do you think he gives a rat's ass about 400 grand? That's life-changing money for a lot of us. That ain't life-changing for him. The maintenance on his plane costs more than $400,000. He couldn't buy Mar-a-Lago for $400,000.
Because it's not worth it.
Well, no, it's literally worth about probably
No,
50.
it's I'm sorry. I
You know,
was I was incorrect. I was talking about like millions or
right,
billions, which
right.
he has projected that's what
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago is
Well,
worth.
he says it's worth 1.5 billion. Um,
No,
but the tax assessor said, "Okay, we'll give you 28 billion." But that's for taxes. When you're actually doing real estate valuations, it's probably closer to 50 million to 100 million. It probably is because it's location. You can't beat the location. The problem it can't be worth the reason, quickly it can't be worth more than that is because there's a lot of encumbrances on that. And if you guys don't understand real estate and what encumbrances mean, it means that there are restrictions to what you can do on that land and what you can't. It's a club. It cannot be used as a residential. When you want to be able to sell it real estate to a family, you can't because it cannot be used as a residence. He has found a loophole in where he can stay there as a residence, but it is a membership club. So anybody that buys it from him cannot then turn it around unless the local city county gov rezones it as residential. And that affects the value because of what you can and cannot put on it as a residential. Okay. So it has a lot to do with that. Um, but he inflates everything. We know that. But anyway, so like Tony said, Trump has zero qualifications going in, and he didn't really gain any by the time he left out because it was really all about grifting and how can I make money. Lord, he's already grifting off the fact that he got shot. He already selling NFTs with him being shot. He's
and those $299 sneakers.
yep, and his mug shots and stuff like that. $60 Bibles that have the Constitution in it, which is a direct violation of church and state. All these things are ways of him grifting to the people that can less afford to give up their money willingly, almost cult like giving it up anyway. So that's what we got going on that front. Y'all, we could probably do a whole nother hour, but we have run over our time just a little bit. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, those that tuned in live, and those that actually watch us on the replay on YouTube on the Empower TV network, as well as any replays that we do have on Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, LinkedIn. I guess no more Twitter. Thanks, Tony. Enjoyed you too. And on Instagram as well. We will see you guys again next week, same time. Y'all keep the hope and make sure that you get 1 or 2 people with you to the polls and that you vote and make your voice heard. You heard? We'll see y'all next week. Oh, I'm sorry, Anthony. They got Trump rapping with 50 Cent. I saw that. Oh my God, I saw that. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. Peace out. Thanks.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta